Hey guys, I'm Callie Lewis.
And I'm John P. Welcome back to more of our security talk for Talk Mobile 2013. So there are all kinds of bad things that people like to send us to try and get us to click on and open and install, and let's just get right into it.
We've got kind of direct malware, and then we've got, human type malware.
There's a big fallacy that Android is just this festering cesspool of malware.
Is it false?
Mostly. It is one of the more susceptible platforms, I think. But that doesn't necessarily mean as soon as you turn your phone on, something bad is going to happen.
So how does it happen in the first place?
It happens because somebody codes something bad into an application.
Often a pirated app, right?
Oftentimes it's pirated apps. Oftentimes it's disguised, maybe not even disguised. It's just embedded in an ad network. And again, these are probably not apps that most of the time you're going to run across, but they're potentially out there. Now, Google has mechanisms in place within the Google Play Store to get rid of this stuff, to try to identify it. It can scan the applications on your phone in the background. You don't even know what's going on, and that's good. So it's not to say it doesn't happen. It's not to say it's something you shouldn't be worried about. It does not keep me up nights. And the problem is it makes for sexy headlines.
Let's back it up a bit and talk about some of the real threats.
Apple made their platform secure from the beginning. Everything is so sandboxed that people hate that their applications can't even talk to each other.
Yep.
And that's the price of security. So they go out of their way to jailbreak their device, to remove the security so they can do better things with it. And that comes down to what causes that. It's almost all the time now user intervention. Our machines are fairly secure, but they can't stop me from doing dumb things.
Android itself will give you a pop-up saying, here's what this application can do. We like putting that into plain English for a number of reasons. And the first is, they're confusing, right? I mean, why does this app need to access the internet? Why does it need to see my
app need
contacts?
location?
Right.
So
and
if an application, that's great that some people do that, but if an application doesn't, and I really want to try this app, should I just go look at the reviews and make sure it's got a 5-star rating, 4-star?
Or can you tell it, well, I still want to use the app, but don't let it do this one thing?
Android doesn't let you go quite that granular. Now, things like Facebook do that.
The thing that scares me, and we've talked about this before, is the lists just keep getting longer and longer. And on Android, no one's going to read that long list. On iOS, you can access your location, can access your Twitter accounts, can access your contacts, can access your calendar. After a while, it's like, oh yeah, boom, 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 boom. I just want to use the app.
On Windows Phone, at least, we restrict how much stuff can do to other stuff. And so you don't have as many permissions where there are permissions. But every once in a while, you get a developer who just forgets to check the box and pulls the location down, even though it's actually not using it.
When was the last time you saw an application released that you thought, this is a cool application, but you also noticed it was asking for permissions that maybe it didn't really need? When was the last time you skewered an application developer publicly for doing that?
I did it recently. I mean, there was an application that came out and it required you to give it your Facebook credentials to log in. And I saw no reason why, and I forget, it was either a weather app or a calendar app maybe, and they probably wanted to access my Facebook birthdays, which is spam all in of itself. And I just said, I'm not going to review this app until they at least give me a choice, offer me Facebook or Google, or give me an opt-out, because that is an absolute barrier of entry.
Why don't we put together a website called, shameonyou.com, and it's only a list of
the first step, I think,
applications.
is having a curated store. I mean, this is just one area you get around. Is the fact that apps theoretically are scanned and looked for to be if they're malicious or not. And we haven't actually had an issue that we're aware of, at least an app on Windows Phone that is causing problems and stealing people's info. It's not saying it can't happen, but so far it hasn't. Same thing with iOS.
Well, we've had, because the thing is, you can never predict 100%. So there are apps that need to access your contacts to do great things, but then there are apps who just suck up all your contacts. But I think we kind of shame them publicly now, because it happened with Path last year, where it was discovered that Path, and I think one of the voice dictation apps, it was pulling in your contacts so it would know how to pronounce your friends' names, but people just weren't aware of why it was doing it. So that kind of public shame does happen now.
It's possible for good developers to do bad things.
Well, we have this great discussion about malware, but we're going to be
Obviously, we could keep going much longer.
Oh, totally. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the future and where we can take this tomorrow. So be sure to come back tomorrow and let us know what you're thinking in the comments below.
Come back tomorrow. We wrap up the whole week for you.
I'm Callie Lewis.
I'm John P. And I'm scared of these two.
Bye.
Bye.